So last time we wrote our program and it was something like this. Hash include iostream using namespace std int main and these braces cout and whatever we want our output to be. So when I run this program, this will give me this output on the screen. So now in this tutorial, we will be explaining what these lines mean. So the first line, hash include iostream, this is our header file. So because of this header file, we can use the cout and the cin, which we will be explaining later. So this adds the functionality to our program. And because of that, we can use this cout. So if I remove this header file and run my program, then this will not run. It is mandatory to include this header file. So I include it and run my code again and I get this output. And now the next line using namespace std. So if I remove this line and run my code, then this will just give this crazy error. My code will not run. So in order to run my code, the alternative way is to write std colon colon and cout. So I get my output again. So we can use either using namespace std or the std colon colon in front of every statement. So it's up to us what we choose. But the easy way is to use using namespace std. So I will be using that in the rest of the programs. And both of them, they will give us the same result. So if I run my code, I will get this output. Now, if you are not crystal clear about these two lines, just take them for granted and they will be part of our every program. So the hash include iostream and using namespace std, they will be part of our every program. And we will be including more header files as well when needed. Now this is our main function. And whatever we write in between these curly braces, it will be executed by the compiler. And it is part of our main function. So I print this thing on the screen and it gives me this result. Our C++ compiler is smart enough. It is ignoring the empty or the blank space between different statements. So I wrote one statement above and one statement is down here. And if I run this code, then I'm getting the result without any spaces or anything. So any kind of blank space is ignored by the C++ compiler. So here this blank space is completely ignored by the C++ compiler. I can write my whole program in one line. So here I have my program and this is in one line. But the problem writing this program in one line is if it is a big program and I write in one line, then everything is problematic, messy, and the readability of that program, it is very difficult. So we must write our program in multiple lines. It is easily readable and it is can easily be debugged if there is an error in it. So we must always write our program in multiple lines. So this runs and this gives us the output. Now how to get to the next line? Suppose I write two statement, one statement in the above cout and the next statement in the down cout. And if I run this program, then in the code they are in different lines. But when I run this on the console, they are in a single line. So to get to the next line, we use backslash n at the end of every statement, and this tells the compiler that it should move the cursor to the next line and it will print the next line here. And I can also use the endl, so this will do the same job as the backslash n is doing, so we can use either of them. So these things that I have highlighted, these are comments and they are ignored by the compiler. Comments, we are writing comments to increase the readability of our code and also to write a short note when we are writing our code. So this increase the readability of our code, and they are ignored by the compiler. So they are not part of our program. Compiler, it simply ignore this. Comment is a good programming practice, but we must not use too much comments. So wherever needed, we must use it, but useless comments, we must try to avoid it. Comments, there are two types. One is single line comment and the other one is multiple line comments. The single line comment, it is starting with the double forward slash, and the multiple line comment, it starts with forward slash star and it ends with star forward slash. So we can use either of them. So most of the time the single line comment it is used. We can also use comment to tell a compiler to ignore certain part of our code when we are doing certain kind of testing in our code. So we can comment out certain portion and tell a compiler to ignore that part of our portion. So I just put my cursor there, and the shortcut key in the Visual Studio to comment is control forward slash. So when I select certain portion and press control forward slash, it is comment out and that portion is completely ignored by the compiler. So only the above part is executed and the down part, it is ignored by compiler because it is commented out. And if I want to uncomment that portion, then I select it and press control forward slash. So this is uncommented again. If I want to comment out multiple statement, then I select that and press my shortcut control forward slash, it comments it, and if I press this again, then this uncomment that again as well. So the shortcut key to comment out certain thing is control forward slash. So we must take care of the C++ syntax. So there is the comma at the end of every statement. If I remove this comma, then I getting this error. So we must, at the end of every C++ statement, there is a comma, so we must not forget this. And the return 0, this marks the end of our main function. So this says to the compiler that this is the end of our main function.